50 years ago today, Saturday Night Live premiered on NBC with George Carlin as host. The seminal comedy television program in American history, SNL has launched the careers of dozens of talented writers, comics, and actors. Broadcast from Studio 8H at NBC's headquarters in the Comcast Building at 30 Rockefeller Plaza, SNL has aired 948 episodes since its debut, making it one of the longest-running network television programs in the United States. Read about its history and watch the first episode, Monologue, 1931, in the Soct. 11/19 a photo released by NBC. Chevy Chase performs during a Weekend Update sketch on Saturday Night Live in New York. At Photo NBC, Herbal, the show's comedy sketches, which often parody contemporary American culture and politics, are performed by a large and varying cast of repertory and newer cast members. Each episode is hosted by a celebrity guest who usually delivers the opening monologue and performs in sketches with the cast, with featured performances by musical guests. Successful sketches have seen life outside the show as feature films, including The Blues Brothers by early cast members John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, and Wayne's World, created by members Dana Carvey and Mike Myers. Throughout 4 decades on air, Saturday Night Live has received a vast number of awards, including 93 Primetime Emmy Awards, 6 Writers Guild of America Awards, and 3 Peabody Awards. More good news on this day. Dr. Catherine D. Sullivan became the first American woman to walk in space. 1970, US President Reagan and Soviet leader Gorbachev met and raped Jack Iceland to continue disarmament talks on intermediate missile arsenals in Europe. 1970, the AIDS Memorial Quilt from the Names Project was unveiled on the Washington Mall, attracting an estimated 200,000 gay and lesbian mourners and activists. 1970, the Lord of the Rings movies began principal photography. 1930, Liberia held its first general elections for president and House of Representatives and Senate since the 2022 peace accords ended their second civil war and unseated war. Charles Taylor, 25th, Green Roberts began his soon-said 4th day, 2-mile overland in the Sun Adventure, driving an old Land Cruiser outfitted with solar power from London to Cape Town. 19 years ago today, 30 Rock debuted on NBC, starring Tina Fey and Alec Baldwin among others. A brilliant satirical situation comedy based around the crew and cast behind a fictional version of Saturday Night Live. Quirky producer Liz Lemon, played by Faye, struggles by with an office full of eccentrics. The show was wildly successful and ran for 7 seasons, over 139 episodes. Its series finale in particular has been named as one of the greatest in television history by several publications. 30 Rock won several major awards, including Primetime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Comedy Series in 2010, 2008, and 2009, and nominations for every other year it ran. Over the course of the series, it was nominated for 103 Primetime Emmy Awards and won 16. The idea came to Faye in 2002, when at the time she was the head writer and a performer on Saturday Night Live SNL. She pitched the show that became 30 Rock to NBC, originally as a sitcom about cable news. NBC Entertainment President Kevin Riley felt that Faye was using the news setting as a fig leaf for her own experience, and he encouraged her to write what she knew. Often the episodes involved disagreements between the more liberal Liz Lemon and her conservative boss Jack Donaghy, played brilliantly by Alec Baldwin. 2006, 141 years ago today, Eleanor Roosevelt, the First Lady for 12 years and the political powerhouse who fought for human and labor rights, was born. She persuaded her husband, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, to stay in politics after he was stricken with paralysis, and he served 4 terms as a U.S. president. Outspoken particularly on civil rights for African Americans, she was the first presidential spouse to hold regular press conferences, write a daily newspaper column, and speak at a National Party convention, as well as a range of appearances on behalf of the president. Eleanor advocated for expanded roles for women in the workplace, and she herself, after her husband's death, pressed the U.S. to join the United Nations and became its first delegate. Regarded as one of the most esteemed women in the world, the New York Times called her the object of almost universal respect in a 1963 obituary. 1884, happy 79th birthday to the soul singer-songwriter and musician Daryl Hall. As a teen musician in Philadelphia, he played with Smokey Robinson and the Temptations before partnering with classmate John Oates to make history, becoming the one-selling duo in music history. Together, they had a 30-year gold record spree and are still touring today, playing major hits like Rich Girl, Kiss on My List, Private Eyes, Minita, I Can't Go For That, No Can Do, Sarah Smile, One On, Out of Touch, Every Time You Go Away, You Make My Dreams, and Say It Isn't So. Live in 2009 by Stephen Proth, CC licensed on Flickr in 2007. Hall created the award-winning free web show Live from Daryl's House, reinventing himself in a digital age by collaborating with both established artists and newer performers and cooking with him at his rustic home studio. He also runs a music club and restaurant on the property in Militant, New York. See the show archives that includes artists like Jason Mraz, Wyclef Jean, Joe Walsh, and Smokey Robinson. After 50 years of partnership, Hall and Oates are reported to be commencing work on their first LP of new songs since 2003. Watch them perform 1948.